Well, how about that? This doesn't show up the numbers yet. There we go. Well, how about that? Last Saturday, I had issues with coming on Saturday night, so I ended up doing the show on Sunday, which was fine. Tonight, I had the same issue that I had last Saturday night. It wasn't connecting, whatever. So I decided to do the old standby, which is turn all the power off, including to the internet and the computer, and voila. 30 seconds into a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 639, Strange Tales at the End of Christmas, or I'm sorry, at the end of 2025. This is the final episode of Dylan Knows in 2025, one of the all-time shittiest years of all time. Here's hoping that 2026 will be much better. And as always, because this is a fucking strange ass year, the Baltimore Ravens, who absolutely shit the bed last Sunday night, when they refused to play Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter with a slight lead. And of course, we end up losing because our defense sucks ass, and made it so that we didn't control our own destiny, that we have to have the Steelers lose to the fucking Browns tomorrow to get to the Super Bowl, to get to the playoffs. And then we still have to beat them, the Steelers head to head on the final week of the season, because we beat Green Bay today handily, 41-24, and I didn't watch a single minute of the game because I was frustrated. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. Well, it doesn't really matter anyway, because Steelers are not losing to the Browns tomorrow. That is a absolute given. I would be hugely surprised if that's actually what happened, but it's not going to be. So it's past week was Christmas week. Christmas was on Thursday. Yeah, Christmas Eve was on Wednesday. Christmas Day was on Thursday. Boxing Day was Friday. Today is Saturday. Had Christmas with my sister and dad this week, or today. Tomorrow I have my in-laws Christmas, and then I have to work Monday, Tuesday, and then New Year's Eve until about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then I have off on New Year's Day, and I have to use a vacation day on the 2nd because they're not giving us a second, which is fucking ridiculous, but that's besides the point. Had a decent Christmas. We supposed to work till 12 o'clock on Christmas Eve. I was able to convince him to drop it to 11:30, which it was too long anyway. We should have ended it at 11, but that's besides the point again. And then did some last minute shopping at the end, and then had mass with my in-laws, which was pretty nice. And then a nice dinner at Kekko's Italian restaurant. And then we drove around and looked at the lights in the neighborhood around us. And then we came home, and Dawn brought down matching pajamas for everybody in the family, so they were really, really nice. And then I read my tradition of reading "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" and "How the Grinch Stole Christmas" to the kids. I mean, they asked for it. I have a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old. They still wanted me to read it to them, which I did. And then they went to bed. I plopped in a Christmas story and wrapped my wife's presents. She wrapped my presents in the living room. And then once we were all done, the movie was done, we were all done. We put all the presents under the tree. And it had been over the last few years when we've been doing this, we hadn't gotten done till 2:30 in the morning. We were done by 1 a.m. this week, this year, just because the kids are older. They don't have quite as much stuff, and we were way ahead of the game here. So we got up Christmas morning. Open our presents. I got some Blu-rays. I got some weird boxer briefs, which I don't even wear, so I don't even know where they came from. I mean, I know Dawn probably got them for me, but I don't know why, because I don't wear boxer briefs. So, okay. They had eggplants on them, which is also weird also that I got that from her. That still makes me like, what did you do? What is that? Got a bunch of books. Got a directed by David Lynch shirt, which I really, really love. Got a sweatshirt also. Got some socks and candy, a new can opener in my stocking. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into that. some gift cards, which is good, used stuff. Did not get Dogma 4K, so I went to order it from Amazon, and it's like out of print now. Not out of print, but it's just not there. So I have to wait till that comes back into stock, which sucks because I really want that though. So I did get the Criterion Pee Wee's Big Adventure. That's going to come on Tuesday. And I got the Supergirl hardcover, which is going to be what the movie is based on. I haven't read it yet, so I'll be able to be up on what the movie's about, get an idea of what the movie's going to be about. So I'm excited for that. And got my wife a lot of stuff she wanted on her Amazon list. Got the kids, a lot of clothes and stuff like that they wanted as well. So pretty decent. And then went to my Uncle Philip's house. That was kind of nice. And then came back home from that early as well, and end up watching Fallout episode 2 and Percy Jackson episode 4, both of which were excellent, by the way. The season Fallout, I'm still a little confused on some stuff, but I'm still watching. I'm still enjoying it, so that's okay. And Percy Jackson this has been a stellar season so far. It's been great. We didn't want to watch Stranger Things on Christmas because we thought it would crash. So we waited till yesterday, Boxing Day. We watched Stranger Things, season 5 episode or season 5 part 2, the last 3 episodes for the finale. I really enjoyed those episodes. This season has been stellar, probably my favorite in a long time. I'm not going to get into the logistics of it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but a lot of good stuff happened, and it's crazy seeing the hate for this season online for some couple of particular scenes, and the fact that this is a slight spoiler alert, no one has died yet. And I was like, no one has to die. You don't have to have a bloodbath to make it an interesting series finale. Why not let everybody live, and survive something like this? So that was crazy. Maya Hawke still had is still one of my favorite characters on the show, had one of the best lines in the episode, the final episode that we got before the series finale. Surprise person who came up with a big plan that's going to end the series finale. A couple of other big events, which I don't want to get into, that people have been looking forward to for a while. So some decent stuff, some great emotional acting, and I still don't understand why people are hating on Noah Schnapp this season. He's being stellar. He has a great scene at the 3rd episode, right before the series finale, the penultimate episode. And as I said, Dustin has a great scene with Steve as well. So we got some good stuff coming up. So Jeff, definitely check it out. Looking forward to it. New Year's Eve is when the final episode is, and I'm not exactly sure when we're going to see it. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do. My wife has said something about going to some scout friend's house, her friends. I really don't know them that well. I really honestly don't want to go to their house for people I don't really know on New Year's Eve. But I can't have her go alone, So, just have to suck it up, but I'm not looking forward to New Year's Eve now, so blah. But then we'll have Christmas with my mom on Saturday the 3rd. So that's going to be the only thing we have going on next week. So the 1st, 2nd, and 4th, we got nothing going on, which is great, which I'm really looking forward to. So next weekend's going to be a lot better than this weekend because this weekend's already gone by so fast. I mean, we're on my 4-day weekend ends in I only have 1 day left in it. I'm on my 3rd day of my 4-day weekend. Tomorrow is Sunday. And then I got to go back to work. So, blah. But it was decent. Again, it just felt rather off this year because of all the shit we've gone through in 2025. And I think my wife was coping because she made a ton of cookies last weekend. And we still have a ton left over. And they're all good, but we're just the most I've ever seen her cook in a really long time. So that's kind of good. And we finally got the decorations up last weekend as well. So it just wasn't feeling like it. So we've had some preliminary discussions about next year. We're coming into a little bit of money the beginning of the year. So we might be taking care of some stuff. I got to get an eBay account started because I got to sell a bunch of stuff to make some extra money here on the side until our economy gets better, because I can't afford jack shit really. So, but the good news is we should be okay with our our mortgage for the next couple months. So that's good. So we don't have to worry about living beyond our means for a few months. So we'll see what happens. So we got a lot of stuff coming, but we're hoping that 2026 is a much better year. And I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of good stuff happened in 2025, but the year itself has just been suffocating. So we're coming to the clearance now. Here is the 27th of December, 11:33 p.m. And I just spent 10 minutes talking about stuff. So we're going to get into, but this is a weird week. A lot of pop culture stuff is off, as everybody else is as well. They're celebrating Christmas as well. So a lot of the stories I have this week, there's a lot of these this week of just weird stories that just happened in the world this week. And it's just really kind of interesting. So we're going to do sort of a different sort of episode of Dylan Knows. There's still some pop culture stuff and some food stuff, but I only have about 4 pages. Three pages actually. Three full pages of notes. Usually I have 5, so this is probably going to be a very, very quick episode of Dylan Knows. It might struggle to get to an hour, so and that's fine. This is my last episode of Dylan Knows, but for this year. But I have plans for a couple of list shows. Particularly, I want to do the list show. I did one last year, I think. This year, I want to do the top movies that I saw for the first time this year. That includes movies I saw in the movie theater and movies I watched on DVD and Blu-ray for the first time ever. Rank them. I think there's 30 of them. So it's going to be a big list. So I saw a lot. I saw 11 movies in movie theaters. And yeah, there's still about 4 days left in the year. I don't think I'm going to the movie theater in the next 4 days because we're going to be at Christmas tomorrow, and then I'm working. And really, the only movie I really want to see in the movie theaters right now is Song Sung Blue, the Neil Diamond tribute band song movie with Hugh Jackman. But even that, I'm just not dying to see it. So we'll start over fresh on January 1st. And this is my first year with Letterboxd, so it'll be interesting to see what my year-end stuff is looking like and how they do that. So, and then I'll be able to feel comfortable about watching movies that I watched 2 or 3 times this year. It'll be like I've only watched them 1 time next year so far. I also got to start thinking about my playlist for 2026, what I'm going to play there too for music. So a lot going on. So here we are. I spent 13 minutes enough talking about this stuff. So let's get into the weird, wild, strange stories to end 2025 here. And as I said, there's some pop culture stuff also. So first up, we'll talk about a pop culture thing because that's what we do here. Denny's has unveiled the Sticky Kicks. It's a shoe that has real maple syrup inside of it, and you have a little clear patch on the outside so you can see it sloshing around inside the shoe. That's weird, man. I don't understand that. That's kind of weird. People dress up like Transformers and cover the Transformers soundtrack. Now that's from the Transformers the movie. There was a bunch of songs. It was a actual kind of soundtrack. This like songs that people sung during the 1986 movie. I believe it was 1986. And there's a group of people that dress up as Transformers and cover these songs dressed in the Transformers outfit. So that's kind of crazy. We got we got another One Piece teaser trailer. Get a general idea of what's coming. The One Piece comes out March 10th, I believe. So first quarter of the year, we'll get One Piece. So that's coming up soon. So that's really, really good. So we got that. It still looks good and should be enjoyable. New Zealand Animals are now recognized as sentient beings. So all animal testing is now banned because you don't test on sentient beings. So that's good on New Zealand. They're like the third or fourth country that's been doing this now. So that's pretty cool about that. A Brazilian prison, this is awesome, for the last 15 years has been using geese as their guard dogs. Their guard dogs were not as efficient. These geese have been hugely efficient in the 15 years that they've been guarding this prison. And that's why it's crazy, because geese are crazy. They're crazy birds, and you don't want to mess with them. My wife absolutely despises them. I think they're kind of cool. Fly Away Home is one of the best movies out there, and I watched it this year, and I may have to watch it again next year. It's such a great movie. I want to show my son, and that's one of my plans next year. Is I want to try to get my son into some more movies and stuff like that. So we'll see about that. But I found that is kind of cool. Actually, my brother-in-law posted that on his Facebook page. So I'll have to talk to him about that tomorrow, because I'm going to see him tomorrow. So that'll be good. A rock used as a doorstep for decades was revealed to be worth over $1 million, because it was one of the hugest chunks of amber out there, that the person who found it in a riverbed did not know what it was, thought it was just a straight up rock, thought it was cool looking, and has used it for a doorstop for decades. It's now worth over $1 million. So that's crazy. Deaths this week. We had a lot of deaths this week as well. Again, no one really hugely famous, but not like last week, but we've got a lot of deaths. And again, what I've been noticing this year when it comes to deaths, it's been a lot more social media people have been dying, and voiceover actors have been dying. This year has been like insanity when it comes at, I wouldn't say massacres, but it's been a huge amount of voiceover actors and social media people have been dying this year. And we got a few more of those this week. So it's crazy. It's not this guy, Amos Poe, is an experimental filmmaker whose one of his films was about the birth of punk rock. He died at the age of 76. Betty Sakis Wacom was the last surviving player of the inaugural season of the All-American girls baseball team. So she passed away this week. Mickey Lee, Big Brother star. She passed away at the age of 35, I think. And Perry Bamonte, the Cure guitarist, passed away at the age of 65 this week. Speaking of One Piece, Fortnite has been really going overboard with the collabs, in my opinion. That's all they're really doing right now, is just collab after collab after collab after collab, which I guess is fine, because it kind of gives you that sort of Lego energy where we had that game where they did that over and over again, but it's getting a little obnoxious here. The upcoming one for the new year appeared to be, with the arrival of the Kill Bill one that came in this season's Battle Pass, we are getting on December 30th, Jules and I forget the other character, Samuel Jackson and John Travolta from Pulp Fiction. Their characters will be in the game December 30th. I'm not a huge Pulp Fiction fan, though I might buy the Samuel Jackson one because he does have the afro, and that might be really cool, but probably not the Travolta one. Or maybe I'll buy them. I don't know. It depends on how the suits look and if we get a good emote or whatever from them, but I'm not sure. I got a bunch of Fortnite gift cards, so I can have some stuff to play around with. Fallout is actually going to be doing a collab with Fortnite, which is also seems it's more appropriate than Pulp Fiction, honestly. So I think that'll be kind of cool. Get some of those also. One Piece, of course, has been rumored for years. We might finally be getting it with One Piece's live action arrival in season 2 coming up in March. So that collab might not actually be until March, which would make sense to coincide with the arrival of the new season of the live action series. And finally, Wicked is supposedly going to be getting a collab with Fortnite as well. So we'll see how that plays out. Another video game, Zoopunk, is a third-person action RPG which combines cyberpunk, animal warriors, and robots, set to debut in 2026. So Zoopunk, check that out. The first of our food stuff, cookies and cream chewy Chips Ahoy. Chewy Chips Ahoy are probably the best Chips Ahoy, and we're finally getting a cookies and cream version with white chocolate chips and something else as well. So I might have to pick those up soon. Check them out. Butterbeer Peeps are set to debut at Easter this year. Surprisingly, I found the Butterbeer coffee creamer at my local Weiss yesterday, so I bought that because I didn't think it was coming out till 2026. So I haven't tried it yet because we have the Home Alone hot chocolate marshmallow creamer that's still half full and will probably take us through next weekend. So we'll probably even try the Butterbeer one probably until the second weekend in January, probably. And then we have French Toast Butterfinger, which actually sounds really interesting. Now, Butterfinger is one of those candies that I like, but I don't eat often because when you bite into it, it just latches onto your teeth, and you've got to pick it out with your fingers or your tongue or a toothpick. And it just and sometimes you don't get it all, and it might cause cavities to hit you because that's just the way Butterfingers are. But a French toast flavored one is kind of interesting. Speaking of Wicked, Wicked for Good, the sequel to, the second act of Wicked is set to debut on Blu-ray on January 20th. So we get that pretty soon, sooner than later. Just checking to see what else I can throw in there before I get into the other stuff. Oh, yeah. One person in Arkansas won the $1.8 billion Powerball, which I think after taxes, if they took the cash, was like $568 million, which is still fucking a lot of money. But you're not a billionaire because you paid your fucking taxes, unlike most billionaires in our country right now. But it's Arkansas, so it's not Florida, it's not California, but still it's not Maryland. I didn't buy a ticket anyway, so it doesn't matter. But still, Jesus fucking Christ. Free Burt trailer. I guess he's some kind of comedian. I've seen him a few times around. It's set to debut on Netflix on 1/22. Apex is we get our first trailer for Apex with Charlize Theron and Tom Edgerton. Set to debut April 24th on Netflix. It looks like a World's Most Dangerous Game sort of movie, but with a one-on-one thing. So Charlize Theron plays someone who's being hunted in the wilderness by Taron Egerton, and they're trying to outdo each other when it comes to surviving in this thing, because Charlize Theron is not just going to be a victim, she's going to fight back. So they're in the middle of like the woods with mountains and waterfalls and rapids and all kinds of crazy stuff. So honestly, even though it has Charlize in it, I really am not that interested in it. So yeah, we'll see. Ariel Heller is directing Circles, an indie drama that'll star Sam Barron and Ali Brown. I don't know those names, but it was mentioned in Deadline, so I was like, okay, maybe it must be someone knows about them. The Madden trailer, the Nicolas Cage, Christian Bale biopic of John Madden, which actually sounds kind of awesome, to be honest. Got his first trailer, and it looks okay. It's going to be on Prime on Thanksgiving, so or the night day for November 26th. Let's see when Thanksgiving is in 2026. Yeah, it's going to debut on Thanksgiving on Prime. So yeah, Thanksgiving is November 26th next year. So we'll be seeing that. Might be one worthwhile to check out. So I think I might go ahead and check that one out. Could be pretty good. It looks interesting, and it's an interesting premise. It'll focus. It's going to cover a lot of Madden stuff. I mean, they show him coaching the Raiders, and Christian Bale's going to play the owner of the Raiders, and then it shows him being in the booth talking football. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't see him maybe making his video game. Maybe it'll get to that if it's a long form biopic. We'll see what happens. Next year's got some really good biopics. We got Madden. We've got Michael Jackson's one, which I'm really looking forward to. And last week I talked to you about the Jimmy Stewart one, which actually is intriguing to me. a little bit to see what that they do with that. Bridgerton season 4 trailer debuted this week. It's going to be coming at the end of January, so that'll be your next big Netflix show that everybody's going to be talking about. Jesse L. Martin from Ally McBeal has been cast in Percy Jackson season 3 as Annabeth's father. So I think that's brilliant casting. He's a good actor, and he has the look of Annabeth, like an Annabeth's father. So that's pretty decent. So it has been Christmas. So a man, actually, this was Christmas last year, but I don't remember if I did the story, but I'm going to tell the story this year because we're telling tales at the end of 2025. Man dressed as Santa Claus led Florida police. So it's Florida man dressed as Santa Claus. We don't know because a man dressed as Santa Claus had the Florida police on a 120 mile per hour motorcycle chase, and then just disappeared into the night, never to be seen again. So I don't know. Maybe the real Santa Claus was escaping from something. Maybe he had a bad Christmas last year and had to escape from something, but still kind of funny. So we have Christmas also. A black bear was checking out Christmas decorations in Tennessee. It's probably the same bear that walked in a Christmas parade that I talked about last weekend. So that's pretty cool. A beaver in a Chicago suburb. A beaver in a Chicago suburb was photographed eating up trees and knocking them down, chewing them up. So that's a beaver in Chicago's suburb. I guess from the lake, maybe, but that's just weird. Painter, film with Walton Goggins and Amber Midthunder, which I think I talked about last week, has added Clace Berry and Ving Rhames to the cast. Booster Gold series is reportedly in development with Kumail Nanjiani in the role of Booster Gold. He popped up on Fallout episode 2 at the very end. He'll probably play a bigger role in episode 3, which we'll see next Wednesday, New Year's Eve. Willistein cast Jonathan Lipnicki, Geneva Carr, and Matt Walsh. It's fun to see Jonathan Lipnicki as a grown-up acting in a film. He hasn't done anything in a long time, so it's neat to see him trying a comeback here. Hurricane made of snow hit New England in 1804. So at the tail end of hurricane season, which ends on November 1st, there was an Arctic blast that hit New England in 1804, just as a hurricane was hitting them as well, turning the rain from the hurricane into a snow hurricane, which is the first ever on record that has not been seen since. And the last time it happened was in 1804. So now out there in the world, the way things are going in our country, would not be surprised to see a snow hurricane hit sometime next year. So mark this place. So come back here in a year to see if it actually happened. This is very cute. A Denmark zoo says a group of penguins tried to escape their enclosure. Didn't get very far, but they tried to escape, about 5 of them, and they got the escape on film, so it's kind of funny. A lot of the anniversaries on this page, we'll hit some deaths first. Imani Smith, the Lion King star, 26 years old, was unfortunately stabbed to death by her boyfriend, which is just horrible. Mohammed Bakari, a Palestinian actor, was in the TV show Homeland. He passed away this week. That's all for deaths on this page. Anniversaries, one of my favorite movies of all time, 1917, debuted 6 years ago this week. So that was pretty cool. This was the week of Leonardo DiCaprio. Django Unchained debuted 13 years ago this week. The Wolf of Wall Street debuted 12 years ago this week. Catch Me If You Can debuted 23 years ago this week. Don't Look Up debuted 4 years ago this week. And are there any more? Nope. That's all the Leonardo DiCaprio stuff that we got. The Robert Eggers' Nosferatu debuted a year ago this week. There Will Be Blood debuted 18 years ago this week. Empire of the Sun debuted 38 years ago this week with young Christian Bale, directed by Steven Spielberg. The Producers, the film version of the hit Broadway musical with the same Broadway musical stars, Matthew Broderick, Nathan Lane, debuted 20 years ago this week. Soul, one of the most underrated and one of the best Pixar movies, debuted on Christmas 2020 on Disney Plus. Did not get a theatrical release till like 3 or 4 years later, but is one of the best Pixar movies of all time. And we watched it the week of Christmas because we were interested in it. So the whole family did. It was fantastic. I need to see that again. Love that movie. Sing 2 debuted 4 years ago this week. And that looks like that's it for this week. Oh, a 21-year-old woman was arrested for speeding over 100 miles per hour when she went to go get Little Caesars pizza. Now, we get Little Caesars pizza every Friday, but I am sure as hell not going to be driving 100 miles per hour to go to a Little Caesars to get our Little Caesars pizza. In fact, we had it yesterday, and I drove in the icy rain we had. This is kind of sick. A forklift driver talking on his phone ran away after he severed a man from the waist up. So basically, he wasn't paying attention to where he was going in the forklift and was on his phone, didn't see the guy there, severed the guy from the waist up. And when he realized what he did, he ran away. Authorities who investigated saw a bloody trail continue down the road a little bit. Police in Kentucky found 50 pounds of meth disguised as Christmas presents. Kind of love Kentucky in the South. A naked man caused chaos in a Florida Hobby Lobby. Again, Florida naked man ran around in a Hobby Lobby in Florida this week. All right, so the rest of the stuff, actually, we do have a little bit more than usual pop culture stuff. We have this one. We actually had two. I'll wait and do this later. It's pop culture stuff. Ready or Not 2 moved up. It's opening from April to March 27th. Saw the trailer last week. It looks pretty decent. Plus, it's got Sarah Michelle Gellar, so you got to love that. Disney's Gato, its first hand-drawn animated movie in a really long time, moved up to March 5th, 2027 from, I think, its end of March debut it was going to come to, so that moved up as well. Taika Waititi has been cast as a voice in The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender, the new series coming out, so he's been cast in a role there. K-pop Demon Hunters has surpassed 500 million views on Netflix. Is also winning a number of awards, so don't be surprised if we see more of that stuff rolling through here in the new year. Talk about that in a second. Ridley Scott's The Dog Stars has been delayed. So we had a bunch of movies that have been moved up. This one has been delayed. I did not even know this movie was coming out. Didn't know Ridley Scott was involved. It's called The Dog Stars. It was been delayed now to the end of August. So August 28th, 2026. The movie will be released. I guess it was a more summer release maybe, but they moved it down. but it's got an amazing cast: Jacob Elordi, Margaret Qualley, Josh Brolin, and Guy Pearce. And it's a post-apocalyptic tale about a man and his dog. Now, there was a movie that came out based on an old school comic called Man and His Dog that Don Johnson was in years before. And I'm wondering if this is either a remake or a redo or something like that, or they just took the idea and ran with it. So that's your story. So could be interesting. And I honestly, I did not know this movie even existed till I read that today. We had our first look at Peaky Blinders, the Immortal Man trailer. I didn't really watch it because I'm not a Peaky Blinders guy, but if you are, it's out. Go ahead and check it out. The Odyssey trailer came out, was very typical sort of Chris Nolan stuff. You got some looks at the beauteous Anne Hathaway. You got a little bit look at Matt Damon. You get to see Agamemnon. You saw some Tom Holland. You saw Robert Pattinson very briefly. I think you see Zendaya very quickly also. That's going to be a huge fucking movie. I'm going to go see that in movie theaters. I'll be taking that Friday off to go see it in the movie theaters on IMAX. They're torturing my cat upstairs with pictures. So we got a first look at the trailer, so we'll probably get a better look at some of the other stuff coming up. We got a shadowy look at the Cyclops heading their way, so we didn't really get a good look at it, but we see it coming. So we know that the Cyclops will be in there. Typical Nolan, there's some very well-framed shots in the trailer as well. This week also released the Captain America Doomsday trailer, which I think is on the last page here. I'm going to talk about it now. I can't find it here. So last week I explained the absolutely ridiculous way Marvel is releasing their teaser trailers. They want to get people back into the movie theaters, so they are tagging it to Avatar Fire and Ash, which has already got the Avatar. People think they're better than you, saying, oh, it's already made $500 million domestically. Yeah, we're going to hit $1 billion again. No, you're not. You're really not. It's trending. You might get $1 billion, but you're not getting anywhere near the top 5. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. But for 4 weeks, they're going to attach a different teaser trailer to, because movies have a 4-week release window. So the first week they did the Captain America one, or not, I shouldn't say Captain America, because that's what's getting the big thing. The Steve Rogers one, which proved that Chris Evans was coming back to the Avengers fold with Doomsday. And it showed him with a kid and showed him living his life in the past. That was leaked and then talked about. Then the Russos said, we'll just release it to everybody so everybody can see it. So it actually was released to everybody this week. The Thor teaser was the one that came out this week. That was leaked. I saw it when I saw the Captain, or the Steve Rogers one. It's short-haired, serious Thor, but keeping the fact that he has a kid now involved with it. And it was very quick, very somber. So that was pretty decent. The one this upcoming week is supposed to get our first look at Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. So that could be an interesting one to check out. Nothing has leaked about that one yet. And then the fourth and final one is what the movie's actually going to be about, with the new Avengers, the Sam Wilson Avengers, Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and all that stuff. So we got that to look forward to in a couple weeks. So we will see this. I'm sure eventually they will leak on there, but it just seemed a terrible way of doing stuff. And we already talked about that. There it is right there. So nothing really new when it comes to that sort of stuff. The Beauty trailer, new TV show on FX, and no desire to see it, so we're not going to take a look at that. Thomas Jane and Kai Murakami have been cast in the final season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. They will be playing McCoy and Sulu. So Thomas Jane will be playing McCoy and Kai Murakami will be playing Sulu. Holt McCalley has been cast as the Titan Atlas, and David Costobalis has been cast as Dr. Thorne in Percy Jackson Season 3. Despite the fact that the Ravens are terrible, but they're 8-8 now, so whatever. They had 6 players that are going to the Pro Bowl, which is really not the big deal because the Pro Bowl is stupid anyway. But they had 6 people picked for that, so that's pretty good. Home Alone was named the greatest Christmas movie of all time. I'm not really disagreeing with it, but I'm also not quite agreeing with it 100%. But that being said, Home Alone is a phenomenal Christmas movie, one of the best directed Christmas movies of all time by Chris Columbus, with a great script by John Hughes, great performances, silly, goofy movie, very Christmas oriented, and very happy that it was picked for that. So congratulations to you. Back to the strange stories. 3 New Jersey men surrender after stealing 200 stuffed animals from amusement parks. Okay. And in the Congo, chimpanzees have been photographed wearing masks that they have created from bark and leaves and from clothing that they've stolen from other places that have been found in their area. I mean, and they made masks. I mean, like full facial masks, so you can't see who they are. That's like amazing. Absolutely one of the wildest things I've ever seen. It's pretty cool. Deaths this week: Pat Finn, character actor from The Middle and Seinfeld. Part Story, a veteran entertainment research executive and a market executive as well. Worked with SAG, died at the age of 63. Vince Zampellin, Call of Duty creator, died in a car crash. Epic Gamer grandma, a TikTok star, died at the age of 78. She had 3 million followers. Julie Erickson, voice actress, died at the age of 86. Helen Sift, a character actress who was in You Don't Mess with the Zohan, Hard Candy, and The Karate Kid. She passed away as well this week. Lizzie Avery, NBC Universal International TV sales executive. She passed away. Adam the Woo, a YouTube star, died at the age of 51, a year younger than me. Chris Ray, singer, most famous song was For the Holidays, Driving Home from Christmas, which is an okay song. It's on one of my Christmas playlists. Didn't actually play it this year, which is funny because my Christmas playlists are over 100 songs, and I only play it really at work or when I'm doing the dishes. So I only play like the same 30 or 40 songs. And this Chris Ray song is probably in the later half of that, the 50, 60 window. That's it for all deaths. Christmas related. The Family Man debuted 25 years ago this week. It's kind of It's a Wonderful Life mixed with Christmas Carol sort of thing, where Nicolas Cage plays a hard driving like TV executive who runs into an ex-girlfriend who was the last woman he truly loved till he became this hard driving sort of guy. And then an angel played by Don Cheadle says, let's see what your life would be like if you got together with her. And he spends the majority of the movie trying to convince everybody that he does not belong in that timeline with her as his wife and their kids. And eventually he comes to accept it and then disappears back to his life after learning a lesson, and then runs into her at an airport, and they decide to sit down and chit chat. So it's actually not one of my favorite Christmas movies, and I don't mention it all that much, but there seem to be a lot of people this year who were talking about how good it was. And look, you have your opinion. That's great. So, but I can disagree with it. And I did, because I don't think it's a great movie, to be honest. But the fact is that the majority of the movie with him being in this alternate timeline, all he could do was bitch and moan about how he doesn't belong in this timeline. That's it. He did not even consider trying to, feel your way around in it till like near the very, very end, and then nope, you're out, you're done. So whatever. Good morning, Vietnam. 38 years ago this week. Balto, 30 years ago, animated film Balto debuted 30 years ago this week. Castaway, one of my favorite Tom Hanks movies, debuted 25 years ago this week. Saw that in the movie theater with my wife. We had just started dating when it came out. So there we go. And that's it for this page. So now we just got a half a page to go, and then we are done for 2025, Dylan Knows fans. Chevy Chase was in an 8-day coma after having heart failure. He's out of it now, but that's still kind of crazy. No one knew about it until Chevy Chase actually came out and said, yeah, I was in a coma for 8 days. So it wasn't a story till just now. Next year brings the Super Mario World or Universe movie. The sequel to Super Mario Brothers, which was a hugely successful animated film. And the collabs have already started. They're collabing with, I think it's, I forget the name of the company, but Strawberry Lucky Charms that'll have marshmallows that are from Super Mario World or Universe. And Blue Raspberry Tricks, which will have the Tricks things from Super Mario Universe. So pretty interesting little stuff. So the collabs have started on that. These are the first. Expect a whole ton to be announced. The movie doesn't come out till March anyway, so we'll be seeing them periodically over the next few weeks. Sour Patch Kids and Swedish Fish have now created chews, smaller versions of their candies. This is interesting. Entenmann's is getting into the ice cream business with Turkey Hill. Their first ice cream collab is going to be soft-baked chocolate chip cookie ice cream with bits of the Entenmann soft chocolate chips in with like a sweet cream vanilla sort of flavored ice cream. That's going to be the last story of the week. A black cat named Maru was the star of the show at the solstice celebration at Stonehenge. He popped up on top of one of the Stonehenge rocks during the solstice celebration. Everybody loved him. The Kansas City Chiefs will be moving to Kansas. They've been in Kansas City, Missouri, and now they're going about 40 miles away to Kansas City, Kansas in 2031 because they are willing to pay for a brand new stadium, whereas Kansas City, Missouri is not. Captain Atom is set to debut in the Creature Commando Season 2, making his first appearance in the new DCU. The Last Frontier was canceled after one season. Yellowstone's biscuit burn erupts. I'm not exactly. I guess it's biscuit burn. It's one of their hot spring sort of things. It actually erupted this week. So a lot of people are thinking, "Oh my God, Yellowstone's going to blow soon." No, it was just releasing some stuff. We have that stuff happens all the time. If it does, it does. I don't think it's going to happen within my lifetime. Probably not even in my kids' lifetime, probably. So I'm thinking we're probably not going to happen for another 100, 150 probably years. So we'll see. I could be absolutely wrong, and I'm okay with that. This is great. Potentially great news. Godzilla -1 was one of the greatest Godzilla movies of all time. One of my all-time favorites. My son absolutely loved it. We saw it in the movie theater once, and then we saw it on Blu-ray once, and then we saw it on Netflix once. And it's phenomenal. It's an amazing Godzilla movie. Absolutely love it. They have been working on the sequel. And we got a surprise this week when the Japanese production company behind the sequel Godzilla Minus Zero said we are holding the date of June 1st, 2026, which is not a Friday, but that's for release date in Japan. So June 1st, 2026 is a Monday. So if it's going to release in 2026 in Japan, we very well may get a release here in the States next year, which my son will blow his freaking mind if that actually does happen. And I would love to see what the sequel is going to be about. Actually, if it does get announced, it will be out in the United States. It might not be in June because they want to play it in Japan for a little while. They'll probably, unless they're going to release it concurrently, which means that June 1st is the place card they have for it, but they might end up having to do it on the 31st, like the 29th of May. Or June 5th, something like that. So we'll see. Right now, their place card is set to debut in Japan June 1st, 2026. Could be in a festival or whatever, and it might not be released till later in the summer or in the fall. Again, we will see. It did not show up in the United States until the end of December, or not the end, the beginning of December when it came out with 2024, 2023, something like that. So we'll keep you informed once we hear anything else, but there's potentially Godzilla Minus Zero may debut in 2026 because the MonsterVerse version of Godzilla, Godzilla Kong, Supernova is set debut in 2027. So they don't maybe want to have another dual release like they did last year or the last time this happened. Though it's lining up because Godzilla Minus One debuted in December in the United States. And then the next year in March is when Godzilla Kong, their second one, debuted, New Empire, whatever it was. So maybe they'll do the same thing. They'll release Godzilla Minus Zero in December again in the United States. And then Supernova is set to debut around the same time in 2027, March of 2027 into March. So we'll see what happens, but the potential is there that they have put in a marker of June 1st, 2026 is when the film will be released. So in Japan. So we'll see what happens. It is now officially December 28th. We are 3 days past Christmas officially, and 3 days before New Year's Eve. I mean, I have one more Christmas to do today, and I got one next Saturday. So that's just the way I am. But for all intents and purposes, Christmas season is over. The next major holiday that's already in the grocery stores and stuff and Target and stuff like that, Valentine's Day. We've gotten a lot of Valentine's Day stuff released this week. I didn't write it down. I didn't copy it because it's just same old stuff. Nothing really interesting. Till I saw these Charms Valentine Pops. Charms are a major lollipop candy creator, and they've got a Valentine's assortment pack coming out in time for Valentine's Day with waffles and syrup, buttered popcorn, blueberry muffins, strawberry donut, and watermelon as their flavors. So could be interesting to see that. So the Valentine's Day has been thawed out, and we are starting to see that. And we'll probably see it more in the stores starting next week because they needed to get through the Christmas sales. And once they get all that, get all that cleared out, the Valentine's Day stuff will be the next one to roll in. Before we get to the last story of the week, which what I just did is a sneak preview to it. Here's our anniversaries and deaths. James Ranson, a character actor who was in The Wire and It Chapter 2, died at the age of 46, apparently suicide, which is never fantastic. Betty Reed Soslin, the world's oldest serving national park ranger, passed away this week. Diane Norris, Chuck Norris's ex-wife of 30 years, died this week as well. Anniversaries: Puss in Boots: The Last Wish debuted 3 years ago this week. Johnny Dangerously, which is a film I think I'm going to revisit in 2026 because I absolutely remember how fucking hilarious it was. And I want to see it again. I haven't seen it in years. And I was thinking about it when I was doing my research. It's like, I need to watch that again. So that might be a January movie to check out. Debuted 41 years ago this week. The Garfield Christmas Special debuted 38 years ago this week. The Black Hole, a Disney, back when Disney was still making some live action movies that were a little out there. This debuted 46 years ago this week with Anthony Perkins from Psycho as the bad guy. Gotta love it. Tim Burton's version of Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, which is actually a pretty decent movie, but the musical is just depressing as hell. Debuted 18 years ago this week. And Beavis and Butthead Do America debuted 29 years ago this week. Well, here it is. The final story of this god-awful 2025. Next week, my show, if I do it on a Saturday, because we have my mom's stuff on Saturday, it will be January 3rd. 2026. So this is the final episode of 2025 of Dylan Knows. As I said, I'm going to try to do one or two more sort of list shows. I'm going to try to do it before New Year's, but I don't think I'll be able to do it. So this might actually be my last show of all my shows this year. And that also gives me an opportunity next week when I'm slow at work is to start dipping into the top 20 films of 2006. Actually, I already did something like that, so I might not do that. The top, 25 of 2001, and start thinking about ranking those. So that'll be fun. So have to get that awful taste of 2025 out of my mouth. Thank you for everyone who's watched my show over the last 52 weeks. I really do appreciate it. And this episode today has been blowing my mind. At one point, I had 4 viewers, which I haven't really had live in a while. I've got one right now. So hello. And they just left. But they'll probably be back. But at one point, I had 4. So I want to thank you all for your support as I continue into year 13. I'll be celebrating my 13th year at the end of September, in mid-September 2026. We got a brand new 52 weeks popping up starting next week of Dylan Knows. So let's think about this a second. We're episode 639 right now. Do one a week. That's 52. That means we will be at episode 691 at this time next year. Wow, 9 away from 700 episoants. Wow, I'm absolutely flummoxed by this. And it might actually be a little bit less than that because I might have an additional couple Dylan Knows episodes, including my Oscar show and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. But man, episode 691, 692 at this time next year is going to be crazy. But we've just finished 52 episodes for this year. We're going to 2025 and hope to God that 2026 is way better than 2025. 2021 was way better than 2020, with the exception of the beginning of January, obviously. But let's hope. Let's pray. Deep breath. Thank you for watching the last 52 episodes of Dylan Knows for 2025. We begin a new set of 52 episodes next week. Don't know what we'll be talking about because, again, as I said, was not anticipating having as many bizarre little episodes and stories for this week's episode. And it's going to probably be another slow week since it is New Year's week. So I'm going to hit just about an hour here. So I'm going to end it right when it hits an hour. So thank you all for watching, particularly everybody who rolled in here today. Please continue doing it through the year and not just periodically. Thank you. Happy New Year.